Steve.
And happy Superman Day to you all. Happy Superman Day, Steve.
A happy Superman to you.
I didn't get you.
I didn't. Same.
Okay.
Same.
Good. All right. Then we got each other the gift of nothing.
That's right. And that's how Superman would want it.
How are you on this this Orthodox Superman
Is it
Day?
Orthodox Superman Day?
This is Orthodox Superman Day.
Is there a punny Superman Day like May the 4th be with you? How that's become Star Wars Day?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't know how there would. I can't think of anything that would fall in line. There's just the 2 dates. But this one is the date to me because it's April 1938. I mean, this is when publication history for Action Comics #1 versus the June date, which in the past few years has become Superman Day as a result of 2013's The Man of Steel. That's how that came about. But I moving it to now, I think is the right choice.
I think that's more appropriate.
I do too.
Yeah.
And you can celebrate that day too. You do both. Batman, I feel like Batman gets like 360 days a year. There's like 5 days.
Batman gets like a special anniversary every year.
He's got. You've heard of Women's History Month. Here's You've heard or Black History Month. Here's Batman History Month.
Here's Batman History Month.
Yeah.
Every other month it's Batman History Month.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's nice that Superman gets a day.
Yeah. We just had Women's History Month. That's what I was thinking. It was March.
You get a day.
So
I get
Superman,
like 6 months.
Superman can have April. May is my birthday, so that's all me. Sorry, everybody else. You got January. We've got them all.
Superman only gets a day. I get like 6 months. You know why? Because I'm Batman.
What Batman are you doing right now?
The one from the How It Should Have Ended.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So not really a Batman, just a personification.
That's right. Swear to me.
Who's your Batman? No, we're not getting into that.
Who's your Superman?
Who's your Superman?
Who's your daddy?
Who's your Superman?
Who is my daddy and what does he do?
What does he do?
Anyway, so
yeah,
Superman.
Who is your Superman?
That's
do you want to do that?
Christopher Reeve is kind of the go-to for everyone, I guess.
It's a Sunday school answer, Steve.
What's that?
It's a Sunday school answer.
That's right.
What'd you talk about in Sunday school today? God, Christopher Reeve. Who's your favorite Superman? Christopher Reeve. Next.
St. Christopher. Yeah, St. Christopher is it. But I think as I got older, I really, especially in that first season, I've said this 1,000 times, of the old Adventures of Superman.
Well, we can mute you. That's fine.
George Reeves, I think, is a great Clark Kent and Superman, especially for that era. But
we've never had a bad one. Oh, this conversation is going to take a turn, isn't it?
I'm thinking.
Oh, there's not too many. It's not like it's Batman. You can go through it a whole lot faster.
Right. I've never seen those original serials with the
Kirk Allen.
Yeah,
you should watch those. They're fun. Yeah, but he's great too.
Yeah,
he's a great Clark. He's a good Superman too, but he's a great Clark.
I like Dean Cain.
Yeah. I love Lois and Clark.
I liked Henry Cavill. Of course, I like Brandon Routh. I'm sure there's like some send-up things of Superman here and there.
Well, I mean, you could be like Bob Holliday, but I don't feel like, those were just one-offs.
I love the Superman from the Superman peanut butter commercials.
Yeah. Ruby Spears, that's my Superman.
Hey, that's a good one.
That is a good one.
That's not a bad one at all.
Williams theme in there.
Yeah, and that one feels very Super Friends adjacent, even though it's not Hanna-Barbera.
It does.
But man, they've got a whole cast. They've got Luther and Otis and Lois. I think Wonder Woman made an appearance.
Wonder Woman, Zod's in there.
Yeah,
in an episode. I love Ruby Spears.
Yeah, don't sleep on the Ruby Spears. I'd say even don't sleep on the old Filmation stuff. When you get into that older stuff, there were certain things they could and couldn't do. So like when you get like especially some of the old Super Friends stuff, they're always fighting aliens or natural disasters or going to parallel dimensions and that sort of thing. It's not until you get to Challenge of the Super Friends that it really rocked. And I was thinking about this, that for me, I was introduced to Superman through the medium of cartoons and those Christopher Reeve movies initially. And and while I was never super big into the comics as a kid, as I got older, I would pick some up, but I never did too deep a dive into, like, there's not a run that I seek out, or so that made me wonder, because I do remember several stories. Is there a comic run or a comic story from the comics that you think about, or or you remember fondly?
Like just from 90 years?
Yeah,
No,
yeah,
no. I mean, I feel like I've said this 1,000 times, but Death of Superman is fundamental to me.
yeah.
I as a kid I had Superman comics, but I had like, oh, here's a Superman comic. Oh, here's a
Yep.
Superman. I wasn't reading for the story or anything like that. I mean, they were just a bunch of one-offs, and I would get some money and I wanted to buy a Superman comic. I'd go to the Kroger's, and because they sold comics then, and I'd buy myself a whatever was running at the time, whatever that monthly slate was for pickup. But when I got to be of age and the Death of Superman hit, I mean, that was where I really started. That's where I latched on and started reading. Went that day, stood in line, and bought it and everything. And I mean, if I was, I've always said I'm a lifelong Superman fan, but I feel like that's really where this all started. Like,
Yeah,
the concept of running a website or a podcast or talking about Smallville from week to week, that was all kind of born out of, I feel like, the Death of Superman for me.
Right.
In a way. I mean, as a kid, yes, everything. Super Friends, Ruby Spears, Superboy. I was huge, and I know that's a blind spot for you, but the Superboy TV series with John James Newton, and then later with Christopher Gerard, was just after, why did I say Christopher Gerard? That's not correct. But you know what I mean. I've totally lost my train of thought. That really messed me up, getting his name backward.
I'm sorry, Gerard Christopher?
Yes, George Christopher. I don't know why that threw me for a loop. But and I think that's something you and I should talk about on Patreon, or even do a few episodes here in the main main feed. That's an alternate timeline. Patreon's an alternate alternate Earth from this one. Because some of that stuff is very comic accurate on that show. Mitch's Pitalik, and right down to his costume on that show.
Yep.
The Bizarro episode's really good. There's an episode where he goes to another Earth, and there's like a dark Superboy. There's a episode in the future with a older retired Superman. I don't know, there's just a bunch of fun stuff in that show, and a lot of cameos. George Lazenby playing Jor-El in an episode, and I don't know, that was coming home after school, locking in on that. As a kid, so those were always fun, but there was never anything I was like, no. And then, I mean, to this day, there's not anything, and I'm like, I don't want to watch that, or I don't want to. I try to always think, some things may not be for me, or like, I mean, I dislike it, but I just recognize that it wasn't made for me, and it was made for somebody else. And 9 times out of 10, I think Superman, I latch on to pretty much everything. My son had the flu it's been a month or two back now, and he wanted to watch something new, just stuck on the couch for a few days, and I bought Crypto, the entire series, which is, I think, only 2 seasons, that ran on Cartoon Network in early 2000s. I had never really watched it except for a clip here and there, and while it's not really Superman per se, though he does appear, I really enjoyed that. That's not something I would ever watch 20 years ago as a 20-something year old, and now at the end of my life, I
Did Tim Daly, when Superman showed up, did Tim Daly do that voice?
I don't hold me
Remember?
to that. I don't know that. Tim's listening and is like, yes, or no.
That's a terrible Tim Daly impersonation.
Not that Tim. Sorry.
Oh,
Our Tim.
oh, okay.
Tim Daly is not
I was like,
listening.
no,
to
Tim
this.
Daly's listening to this. Hey man,
He
come on
was
the show
voiced
sometime.
by Michael Dangerfield.
Hey,
Whoa, okay. You know who Michael Dangerfield is? I forgot
No.
that was his name.
no
Played
no,
Gordon Godfrey in the last season of Smallville.
wow. Oh wow. Okay.
It all comes as
Yeah.
Professor Bailey would say.
It all comes
It
back
all
to
comes
Superman.
back to Superman.
Just a quick tangent, real fast. I was doing a Geek Out Loud the other night, and
The official podcast of geekoutonline.com.
absolutely.
Sure.
And someone in the chat was asking about they're going to the Huntsville Expo coming up soon. I guess.
Huntsville, Alabama.
Yeah. And apparently Brian Austin Green is going to be there.
News to me.
And he said, should he approach Brian with a friendship contract?
No.
I said, I triple dog dare you.
Would he even get it?
Yeah. Sure he would.
When is this? April 25th through 27th. I didn't know he was going to be there.
I didn't either. I'm
didn't
thinking if I can swing it, I may try to drive up there.
Well, okay. Well, if you do that, then I guess I should do. Yeah, he's sure enough. There he is.
Just hanging out.
When is that? Is that Easter?
No, Easter's this
Oh
weekend.
no, that's when I'm in Vegas that weekend. Can't do it.
I'm thinking I may bump up
It's
there.
next weekend. You need to do it.
Yeah, I may.
You need to do it. That needs to happen.
If I'm able to, I sure will.
Okay. Good. Is that
anyway.
where we should meet for the movie? Huntsville?
Do what's that?
Is that where we should meet for the movie?
No, I think there are better places to meet than Huntsville. I don't know
Birmingham?
where we should meet. Now, granted, Jeff Brown's going to hear that and be like, "No, you should meet in Huntsville
Yeah.
for the movie."
Does Jeff Brown listen to Shoe though?
Yeah,
Oh, because he knows about the friendship contract.
that's right. No,
Hey,
it
Jeff
wasn't- no,
Brown.
this is a different guy.
Oh, sorry. Who wanted the friendship contract?
I forget.
Oh, Steve is.
Yeah.
Our apologies to Jeff Brown. We ran out of time.
Apologies
to Matt
it wasn't
Damon.
Jeff Brown.
I know.
It was-
I'm telling you though. You just said
Yeah.
that about coming to Huntsville though.
Jeff Brown is the guy who I would go speak at his church, and those times then I'd bump over to Tupelo from Huntsville.
That's where I. Hi. Yeah. You'd pop
There you
by. Pop over. It's a pop.
It's pop over to Tupelo.
Yeah.
No, ask about the comics because I think that's a lot of people when it comes to Superman. The go-to thing is the death of Superman because that was huge, you know, and it was news. And then I think that people don't realize that more than a publicity stunt, it ended up being a really good story when it was all said and done. You know, the whole death and return stuff, and there were ramifications of what went on beyond just with him. You know, like you had the Justice League involved with the Doomsday stuff, and then because Superman was gone, that allowed Mongol to show up, you know, War World guy, and Coast City gets destroyed, and that causes Hal Jordan to go nuts and eventually become Parallax and turn evil and try to put out the sun and all this other stuff.
There's a lot of ramifications out of it, but I mean, I was right at that perfect age,
Yep.
and I mean, the 4 Superman was huge to me.
Yep.
And I mean, I still have my entire run of those in a long box here. I mean, I don't still own a lot of comics, but I've got rid of some over the years, but I still have all those.
Yeah. I would encourage people not to sleep on the Electric Superman stuff.
No, I love it. It's so fun.
It is fun.
And it's not permanent, so just take it as, I mean,
right.
take it as an Elseworlds if you have to or something, but it's even though it's, you know, it's in continuity, but I love it. I love Blue and Red. I think the whole thing's great.
Well, it was neat because it was something new with the character that hadn't really been done as far as like, what if we gave Superman a whole new power set and a whole new look? Mm-hmm. And they built up to it. Like it didn't just happen in one book, you know, like they had to build up to the situation.
Right.
And then there was the whole thing of when he's Clark, he's mortal. You know, he doesn't have all the invulnerability and everything. And and then you get into the Superman Red, Superman Blue stuff that went on for a few months, and to bring the way he came back, the Millennium Giants and all that
Mm-hmm.
stuff that went on. I mean, he was Superman Blue for for at least a year and a half.
Like a year. I
Yeah,
can't
it
even
was a little
remember.
while because I remember like the Justice League hadn't been going too long. JLA, Grant Morrison's JLA hadn't been running too long, and he was Superman with the long hair, and you had the perfect Justice League. You had Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, Martian Manhunter, all the like it was Super Friends for the 90s at the time.
Right.
And then within like 6 issues, they do Superman Blue, so he has to come on. So Grant Morrison has to kind of incorporate that into the Justice League. And there was this whole thing where he's like, "Well, you guys have got to test me because you don't know if I should be here or not. You can't." And it's like that's fun,
Yeah.
that they're. It felt very Silver Age, like I must go through the test to see if I can be part of the Justice League, and yeah, that's a fun one to kind of hone in on. The Superman Batman stuff that Jeff Loeb and Ed McGuinness did in the early 2000s, especially the first few issues where basically it's the demise of Luthor and his presidency.
Right.
Is some really good stuff that go on there, and
we
you get a
obviously
lot
got
of
some
inner dialogue, inner monologue of Superman, how he feels about Batman, and vice versa. And there's that great moment where they actually storm the White House going after Luthor.
Yeah.
And it was set up in an issue prior because they're fighting Hawkman and someone else.
I can't even remember.
And they call a move to each other, castling.
Yep.
And they explain that it's a chess move where like these two pieces switch places or whatever. And so when they get to the White House, they've got the distraction of like all the super kids, like Robin and Superboy and Supergirl, and I think Nightwing was involved too, and Batgirl. They were the ones who were being the distraction of storming the White House. Meanwhile, Hawkman and whoever was with Hawkman, and I can't remember. They're in there with Luthor protecting him, but then something happens. And he grabs the other person's shirt, and it rips, and it's Batman under there.
Right.
And you just the inner monologue of Superman's like castling, and it's like they weren't swapping with each other; they were swapping with those two.
Yeah.
And it's great, just awesome move. And that was there. There are a few moments in my comic book reading that just caused me to stand up, to sit up and be like, "Oh my gosh, that's amazing!"
Yeah.
And that was one of those cool moments, just reading comics and. Was a Superman moment,
What on screen is your favorite Superman moment from any iteration?
Gosh. I mean, it's always going to be kneel before Zod. Now take my hand and swear eternal loyalty to Zod. And then as he starts to just crush the hand, and the music swells up, that's always one of my favorite moments.
Because you loved that in Smallville too, when they do that in 601.
Oh
He's
yeah,
got the Phantom Zone crystal, and
yeah,
it's a direct retelling of that.
Absolutely. But just the
Yeah. That's a good one. General, would you care to step outside?
Oh, yeah.
Which is so much better than haven't you ever heard of freedom of the press?
Yeah.
Which still isn't bad, but as many good ones as there are, and of course, I think the easiest answer would be the helicopter.
Oh yeah,
absolutely. Running up to the payphone and looking it up and down and realizing he can't change. And I mean, God, his comedic timing was so good. I if we ever really talked about this, but when I went to see the Los Angeles Philharmonic perform it with an audience, and just how many funny beats there are, and I mean they're funny to me. I still chuckle when I watch them, but to have an entire, opera house laughing along when he looks that payphone up and down and then moves on to the next thing. That's a great moment. And this one may be a cop out just a little bit, but the way the score happens here just gives me absolute, and this is not hyperbole. I get chill bumps every single time. But when the boat has gone under in Superman Returns, and Lois is knocked out, and Richard's at the porthole, and all of a sudden the boots show up, and then he starts lifting that boat out of the water.
Yeah, yeah.
Dear Lord, sir.
That is a great moment. You're absolutely right. Also, the camera angle of that.
Yeah.
Where he, honestly, it's a trick of the camera because he's just looking up, pulling up.
But it was actually going down in the water.
Right. And then they back out, and he's, a few stories above the water. And,
right.
And then I love the just ripping the door open, hold on, and let the thing go as they come.
Jason watching the boat fall, and everything about that sequence is fantastic to me.
Well, Richard is Superman without the powers. We talked about that time and time again, but he's Superman without the powers, and so he did all he could do for them in that boat, and it's like that's it, it's over, and then that's a good one.
Yeah, when those boots land.
What's that?
When those boots land on the window.
Yeah. I kind of want to watch that now.
With the Ottman does something with the score, like it swells there more than Williams' theme has ever in any usage of the Williams theme since '78. It's one of the most like heroic renditions of it, which is already a very heroic theme, obviously.
Yeah. In animation, there's always the end of I guess it's the Justice League Unlimited, where Darkseid shows up.
Dwayne McDuffie. No, that's that is Justice League Unlimited when he's. I feel like I'm made in a world.
I live in a world made of cardboard.
Wasn't that Dwayne McDuffie wrote that?
Maybe.
I think so.
Maybe. But he gets to say, he says, with you, big man, here's a chance I really have. I don't have to hold back.
Right.
And he starts to beat the crap out of Darkseid, and that's a great Superman moment.
That I never actually. I mean, I think I've watched them all, but like not like in order. Like I would, they're all mixed to me, coming in and out of them. But there's so many good moments in both the original Justice League and in JLU.
Yeah.
I still crack up when Lex is Flash, and at least I can find out who the Flash is, and pulls off the mask of the mirror, and he's like, I have no idea who this is.
I have no idea who this is. And he's doing it in Michael Rosenbaum.
And it's Michael Rosenbaum, so that's just double decker there for you.
Yeah. Those are great. I mean, everyone talks about the Timm-verse, the Bruce Timm-verse and everything. And the whole Superman animated series, those 3 seasons, I don't know that there's a bad episode, as far as the quality of that show goes. There may be, I think Livewire gets on my nerves a little bit as a villain.
Yeah.
But the characterization of Luthor, the first 3 episodes that kind of tell the origin of Superman.
Parts 1 through 3 of The Last Son of Krypton. That's a great, standalone thing in and of itself. The Batman Superman movie. I almost said Batman versus Superman.
Yeah,
but the Batman Superman movie with Lex and Joker. I watched the other. That's one I don't revisit often. I think it's good, but I was just aged out enough that I didn't watch it every time it was on. Like I've seen them all, but kind of the same thing with Justice League. Like Batman, the animated series hit when I was at that right age to like come home and watch that every day. And then I think Superman was like 4 or 5 years later, like 92 to 96, or I can't do math in my head, but I watched the late Mr. Kent episode the other day, and that's a fantastic episode, standout episode of that series. And you haven't really gotten into My Adventures, have you?
No.
Yeah, and I get, I think the animation style takes some people out, and if it were anything else, it would me,
right?
But because it's just not my cup of tea, I have nothing against it. I'm not knocking it. It's just I've never watched anime. I've never, had anything to do with that. but the characterizations and the writing are just so good on that show, that the style of it, which again, I don't have anything against it. It's just not my normal. I think if I watched, a lot of that
Right,
genre,
yeah.
I would be far more used to it. So some of it's still a little jarring to me, like the opening, the end credits and stuff like that are still kind of like in that style that I'm just not used to. But I love every character. I love Jonathan and Martha on that show. Jimmy is just a fantastic Jimmy. Obviously, season 2 we had Supergirl. I'm really interested to see what they're going to do in season 3 because apparently Superboy's coming in, and it's going to be Leather Jacket.
Nice.
Superboy. So I'm interested to see how they do that. I have heard rumors they're going to somehow introduce Electric Blue in a way. I don't know if that's just going to be a one-off or what, but it's just you should give it a chance.
All right, yeah, I'll have to check that out. I forget it's a thing,
If nothing else, Jack Quaid as Superman is hilarious. Like he just really. It's Clark's really good, but it is really really good, obviously. But I love his Superman too, and I think there's so many just good. Jokes. Mixus Pitilix in one of the season 1 episodes, and there's a moment where he starts snapping through the multiverse and different versions of Superman start appearing throughout media, throughout history. So there's some really good stuff in it. I highly, if anybody's listening and has not gotten into it for one reason or the other, I recommend it. I think they're actually going to be running a marathon of it tomorrow at the time of this recording. We're recording on Superman Day Eve.
Okay.
Is
cool.
Superman Eve? Would you just call it Superman Eve?
I would say it's Superman Day Eve.
Superman Day Eve. But you don't say Christmas Day Eve. You just say Christmas Eve.
Well,
Superman Day Eve?
Yeah, but it's not Superman. It's not the eve of Superman.
It is.
Okay.
Tomorrow he returns.
There was a cartoon in the early 2000s called The Batman.
Yeah.
I didn't care for it in the earlier seasons. I didn't like it. It was overly stylized.
Very much. And it was kind of trying to be like an homage to the 60s.
Yeah, and that's and when I realized that, I'd get up on a Saturday morning, just kind of be piddling around. I'd have it on, and I came to really enjoy it. But what really was cool is there was like a whole little arc where Superman shows up.
It was the last season, I think, and then there was actually going to be a spinoff, and it didn't happen.
Right. And but what's cool about it is Robin is there, and Robin's like a fanboy. He's like a Superman fanboy, and I remember that was just a fun thing for me to see that. But it had quite the cast, man. Like
it did, and I enjoyed when he showed up on Brave and the Bold.
Yeah, I never got to see that one. Now was that? I know George Newbern did Superman in the Batman. There was one that they made a big deal about Tim Daly coming back and doing Superman.
Was that? We're going to make Tim Daly happen at some point in this episode. I'm checking.
That was a fun show.
Yes, it was.
There's Batman. I know it's not Batman Day; it's Superman Day. I like their characterization of Aquaman.
Well, of course, this website's not going to tell me who did the voice. Oh, Roger Rose.
Okay, no.
So no.
My bad. Maybe I'm just thinking about Tim Daly coming back for some of those Bruce Timm movies.
Probably, because that happened a lot.
Yeah.
Well, but now, what of those do you like of the animated films that started with Doomsday? Because we've never really talked about those on the show, just outside of references or mentioning them.
Right.
We never really covered them, so to speak.
Yeah. Well, I remember Doomsday being a big deal, and I remember being a little bit, tiny bit let down by it. They've since done the Death and Return of Superman as like a 2-part thing. I think they did a little bit better. But that Doomsday is where you get the special features where they actually talk about the comic book side of the Death and Return of Superman.
Right.
And they get all those creators talking about it, and it was really, really good. As far as those animated movies go, like, I'll be honest with you, I watch those in just such fast succession whenever they'd come out, and I kind of don't remember them all very well.
I remember the Public Enemies one pretty well.
Yeah. Yep.
And honestly, we were just talking about that run in the comics a minute ago, and that may be why I remember that one so well. I vividly remember the Doomsday one because that was just in the heyday of Shoe, with
Right.
that coming
Yeah.
out and covering it. But I mean, there's some good ones in there, and then there's some ones that I didn't care for nearly as much.
The adaptation of the New Frontier, the Justice League New Frontier,
That one was really good.
was good. Green Lantern First Flight was good. Michael Bailey. Speaking of the Professor, he turned me on this. He gave me a timestamp one day, and he's like, "Just go to this timestamp in that movie and start playing The Touch." And it fits perfect with, and it's like the end of it's like the big end battle and everything.
On the New Frontier?
Yeah.
Oh,
No,
wow.
of Green Lantern First Flight.
Oh, Green Lantern First Flight.
I know I was excited about Public Enemies because I love that story arc, and I remember that being done pretty well.
Yeah. Obviously.
They did All-Star Superman was good. They did a good job with All-Star Superman.
I've been meaning to revisit that as we get closer to the new film this summer, and I need to. I actually just reread it. And everybody, talks about their love for it. I enjoy it. It's not my favorite. I don't dislike it. I don't think it's bad. I don't think anything's wrong with it. I appreciate what it did. It's just not one of my go-tos when somebody asks me, what should I read, or something like that, because I have found now, especially with all these Superman influencers that are out there now that hate on John Byrne and want the Kents dead and all that stuff, that my recommendations and their recommendations are vastly different.
Yeah.
That's fine. Doesn't have to be the same, obviously.
It is fun to get some of the showcases, like the DC showcases, and they're not necessarily, they don't do them in color because they're just kind of a cheap newspaper print, but it's a collection of a lot of times like the Silver Age stuff and even some of the, the Golden Age stuff that, right there on the cusp of I guess it's all Silver Age, but
yeah.
But like some of those just wacky out there stories that preceded Crisis and everything, and even they did, here's an imaginary story of Superman. What if Superman, basically like a what if Superman married Lois and
right.
And that sort of thing. I had a comic as a kid that it captured my imagination as far as the powers that Superman has, and it caused me to not have a problem with a scene in Superman 2. And it's basically Bizarro shows up, and Clark and Lois are both on a plane headed somewhere for WGBS because Print is dead.
Yeah.
And Bizarro attacks the plane, and Lois is falling. And so Clark is falling as well now. No, I'm sorry. Clark is falling out of the plane. And so he has to fly around at super speed and pause just long enough as Clark and as Superman to make it look like Superman is saving Clark Kent.
Right.
And so he's moving so fast that the naked eye can only see that moment. It's like an optical illusion kind of thing that he creates and saves himself. It's crazy. So in Superman 2, when he's disappearing and reappearing places, and then he's appearing in 5 different places, I'm like, oh, that's what he did in that comic I read that time.
Yeah.
So
correlation. I love the Fortress's ability to do anything when we need it to, whether it be Superman 2 or Smallville. If somebody came up to you and was like, I know Superman, like I know Superman, I know Lois Lane, I know all that stuff, but I've never read anything, what would you tell them to pick up and read?
Okay. Honestly, I would point them to not the comic, but the novel adaptation by Roger Stern of The Death and Return of Superman. Because that bad boy has so much, he does such a good job of interweaving the backstory of everything that's going on into what's happening with the actual Death and Return storyline. So you get the history of Superman, you get to understand his origin and his upbringing and everything, but it's moving along with the story of this creature that's shown up and everything. And so I think if you just throw them here, well, here's the Death and Return of Superman storyline. It's a little bit hard to follow because
Oh yeah, there's too much going on in other iterations.
there's too many of the like these Justice League characters at the time are outside of like Batman and Wonder Woman are a little bit like who are these
Well,
people who are
but,
Fire
I
and
mean, they
Ice?
just they have their own titles that
Right.
stories that were building to it and interwoven with it, and
Yeah.
it doesn't. I don't think it works on unless you're like sitting there reading the omnibus, which I'm not going to recommend to somebody out of the
I
gate.
mean, I would.
I mean, I would, but I,
But I would say
You
that
can't borrow
novelization
mine.
is really good.
the novelization is good. I haven't read that in years. That might be something I pick up and read before. I've got the hardback version
Yeah.
of it up here on the shelf behind me. Honestly, if somebody asked me, and I've done this before, I would tell them Secret Identity. It's not a Superman story.
Yeah.
It's not. It is about a man named Clark Kent who discovers he has the abilities of Superman and takes up the mantle. But in this story, DC Comics is a thing. Superman comics are a thing. Like it's action kind. Like he's grown up. Being his whole life, people buying him Superman T-shirts as a birthday present, and haha. And he gets introduced to a girl named Lois, and they of course they hate that because she's been introduced to like 14 Clark Kents in her life,
Right.
or set up on dates with, and so she's not a fan of that. And same for him; he's gotten set up with Lois's before, but it's a really well done story that I don't think gets enough credit in this day and age. And it's over 20 years old at this point, but I think it's one definitely worth visiting if you never have, or revisiting if you have picked it up. Trying to think of other just Superman fist in the air moments that are just
Well,
whether it be from comic or
there's a moment and again, this is more modern, but there was an arc called Ending Battle, I think, and it was Manchester Black, who is he's a telepath, one of those guys, and
the version like Superman versus the Elite, the animated series version of
kind
it.
of he's that, but this is in the comics,
Right.
and this wasn't. I don't know that was an adaptation of what went on in that particular.
Is this where he tricks him?
It makes him think Lois is dead.
Yes, it is. It is. That is the film adaptation of it.
Okay. I remember getting that comic, picking it up, and I'm like, oh gosh, I was worried. I'm like, because I've been reading, the different ones, and I'm like, are they really going to kill her off? And sure enough, she's dead as you started out. And spoiler alert, Superman goes nuts on Manchester Black, and you're just like, oh my gosh, I'm reading this thing, they're ruining Superman. They're ruining Superman, and then everything stops. And you there's like as I recall it, it's like just a shot on Superman's face, and he says, "No, she wouldn't want that. I'm not about to do this to you. You're going in." And Manchester Black is blown away. He's like, "You're the real deal."
Yeah,
and
but that's what's so funny about Truth, Justice, and the American Way is the title. Is that run?
Is it okay? I just remember the ending battle being the big thing on the cover.
Remember what? If that was just one-off on a cover, or I can't remember. That was, and then the film adaptation was George Newbern.
Yeah,
of that one, which is not one of my favorite of the animated films, but I do like that story though.
Yeah, it's the story arc was Ending Battle, and it runs through. It ran through all the different comics, and so anyhow, he says no, Lois wouldn't want it, and that's not who I am. And so Manchester Black drops the Mirage, and she's alive, and he's just blown away that he's the real deal. And to me, that's Superman. Like Superman's not going to go nuts because Lois dies,
right?
He's not going.
Sorry, Injustice fans.
What's that?
Sorry, Injustice fans.
Right. Superman's not going to go nuts because Lois dies, because Superman knows that humanity is frail and they'll die.
Yeah.
And he's going to be the best man he can be for her. I think we see that. I think what Alex Ross and who wrote Kingdom Come?
Mark Wade.
Mark Wade. I think they got it right that Superman would retire before he'd turn evil, and just go have a farm and run his farm, and the fact that the closest he got to being evil in Kingdom Come is he just put all these so-called heroes in line. He got them all in line, like he became kind of a taskmaster in a way, and then he realized I can't do that. This is just making things worse, and so I think that I like stories where Superman's goodness just kind of shines through, and so anything like that I would point people to. The Return of Superman stuff, man, when he comes back from the dead and he's in the black suit. I could care less about the black suit or, how cool it is or not cool it is. I love it.
Wrong.
But, I'm not like it, I think a lot of people are like, oh, you should wear that all the time.
No.
But
Very
the
specific
fact
reasons.
that he comes back and with no powers, goes and faces down Mongol to help, in that whole situation is just, that's Superman. And so I love
jet boots and all.
Yep.
I love that too. Yeah, we could sit here and talk about favorite Superman moments all day. Obviously, then we haven't even talked about Smallville and Superman and Lois and so many fantastic moments from that. And the Daily Planet leap scene from Insurgents is still one of my favorite moments from that show. And especially when they start tying stuff in and, the Williams theme plays at the end of season 2 and we hear Jor-El for the first time and all the way
flying up to the missile,
flying up to the missile, hidden.
You can join us.
Flying in the fortress. The costume and the suit in the fortress and taking off. And there's just so many good moments from that show, which is obviously why we're still talking about it 20 years later. And Superman and Lois, so many, I'm still mourning the loss of that, and still, part of me still wishes. I think there's been so much done with the death of Superman over the last decade, or just so much utilization of Doomsday. I still wish they had just kind of turned that story on its head a little bit, like they always did on that show. We thought it was Lex Luthor from Another Earth, but it was really John Henry Irons. We thought it was Doomsday at the start of season 2, but it was really Bizarro. And had done the death of Clark Kent in season 4 instead of the death of Superman, and had the Kenny Braverman and the Conduit and gone through that whole storyline, being in Smallville and having to, kill off Superman, having to kill off Clark Kent, so to speak, to deal with all that, because Braverman's Conduit is targeting the Kents, and which wouldn't work as well because they're dead at that point. But there's so many good moments though that just make me proud to be a Superman fan. And I've one thing I've loved in these days leading up to the event tomorrow, whatever may happen. My theory is we will not. I don't think we'll see a trailer at this point, since we just got that 5-minute preview a couple weeks ago. I do feel like we'll see a theatrical poster or maybe character posters or something. I think there'll be other stuff revolving around the film, like the McFarlane toys we were talking about at the top of before we started recording. That's just been unveiled is the McFarlane, the David Cornsweet figure, Superman figure. I think that kind of stuff, merch and other product tie-ins and that kind of thing is going to go down tomorrow. I may be eating my words in the next 24 hours. I don't know. I know what I'd love to, stuff that I'd love to see, but at this point, I'm happy with whatever we get. There was a new Fantastic Four trailer today, and that obviously that's coming out in July too. There's another Jurassic Park movie coming out in July. July is going to be a busy month at theaters for people, so it's going to be interesting to see. I'm not the kind of person that's like, I hope this film fails or anything like that.
Right.
Because, this is people's jobs and their livelihood and stuff like that. I hope all the movies succeed. But it's going to be interesting to see, especially up against a new Fantastic Four with 1 week in between, 2 weeks in between, maybe. I can't remember what's going to happen there. That trailer looked great. Fantastic Four is not something I grew up reading.
No, yeah, but I did.
You did. And
Yeah.
you liked that trailer. I watched the trailer, and my limited knowledge was like, I feel like I saw this movie 2005, 2007, maybe.
Well, the difference, look, yeah.
And I'm not negating. I'm not saying, oh, they're just making another one. That's not me at all. I'm just.
I think the desire is to get Galactus right. I don't know. We don't have time to get geek out loud on it, but I'll say this. I think just like with the death of Superman.
Did you just use your show as a verb? Mm-hmm. Okay, just checking.
I think like with the death of Superman, it seems like in other mediums, whenever Superman comes up, for the past 10, 15 years, it always felt like people want to get straight to the death of Superman because that is this great seminal story arc. Galactus is a seminal story arc in the Fantastic Four, and a lot of people don't realize there are some other great stories to be told with the Fantastic Four. There's a lot in the Marvel Universe that revolves around the Fantastic Four, and I think that they just want to come out of the gate with this team. Obviously, I don't know that we're necessarily going to get an origin story as much as it's going to be like, remember this happened to them, kids,
I kind of feel like it's going to be like they're being interviewed and like told through flashback
and it's going to be 5 minutes of it, but they're already going to be established in that world.
Right.
And to do Galactus and to do it well is, it's a weird thing to step out of the gate. I think it'd be more bold to say, oh, we're going to do what they started with. We're going to do the Mole Man. And we're going to have monsters attacking the city, and they're going to have to fight the monsters, whatever the case may be. But I have things I don't like, but man, when Mr. Fantastic's doing one thing and he's kind of stretching from one thing to the next, I thought that looked really good. That was a really good looking shot. Thing running through the pillars was cool. Johnny looks good, flaming on. So there's no reason, I'm not seeing or hearing anything that's causing me to be like, I'm so angry about this. Well,
I hope nothing makes you get like that because it's a movie, Steve.
There have been things.
I know, but it shouldn't. It shouldn't.
Sometimes some things
shouldn't.
Yeah, like
it shouldn't. But it shouldn't.
The Last Jedi makes me angry.
All right, well, that's all the time we have for today. God, he was gonna get it in one way or the other, folks. It's been like almost a decade. Let it go. No?
If they weren't trying to keep on with it, I would.
Okay. All right. I am so excited for tomorrow to see what it holds. Anything new we're getting about this movie, everything that comes out, I'm just getting a little bit more excited for it. But I think to your point a minute ago, and I'll close on this, we've had, and this is something we've talked about on the show, so longtime listeners are going to roll their eyes at hearing this, or roll their ears, maybe. It's just been such a drought for us as Superman fans. Batman fans feast, we famine. More often than not. And because there's so many iterations of, you've got from a Harley Quinn show to Joker movies to video games to you've got CW shows that aren't even about Batman but are still about the Bat family, and like there's just been so many iterations, and then you've got the Marvel side of it and just how much that has been there's just a lot of quantity there since 2008, and
a lot of quantity.
Is that a thing? A lot of quantity?
Yeah, I'm going to say yes.
A lot of quantity.
It's a quantum of Salace is what it is.
Well, it harkens back to it's a jumping off point. It's Tron. There's been so many. There's not been so many things for us as Superman fans that we can latch onto because we'll get something and then it'll get taken away from us.
Yeah.
with the exception of Smallville, really, that got a 10-year run. But you and I love Superman Returns. That obviously didn't come to fruition anywhere. A lot of people very loudly love the Snyderverse and Man of Steel and everything, and I enjoy Man of Steel, and that obviously went nowhere. I feel like Superman and Lois got taken away from us too soon, especially when they said we had a plan for 7 years.
Oh, I didn't know that. Now
Oh,
you just
yeah.
made me angry.
Yeah.
Now I am angry about that.
See, I can get mad about things. So that makes me sad as a fan of that show, and especially with Tyler and Bitsy's performances. But it's just been hard to latch onto something that's lasting.
Yeah.
And in the days leading up to tomorrow, I've just seen so many posts and, happy things, positive things pointing toward this film, and not even just this film, but that symbol in general. That people seem to be excited for it. And it's weird to be a 40-year Superman fan and see people very excited for it again. It makes my heart happy. So I'm can't wait to see what happens tomorrow. I hope we get better looks at Rachel as Lois. I hope, whether there's a trailer or not, that we get to hear some more of John Murphy's score, which just I'm in love with, and every second of it I'm trying to get more and more out of it. I can't wait to sit and listen to that whole thing start to finish. When it finally comes, it'll probably be one of those that doesn't happen until the day the movie drops,
Right.
or else we'll get Qui-Gon's funeral spoiled for us.
Maybe not.
I gave you a Star Wars reference. There you go.
Qui-Gon's noble end.
Qui-Gon's noble end. Excuse me. Jeez. How dare I?
How dare you, dare I?
How dare I? So very excited for all of that. Thank you for joining us. You can find us online, superhouseofl.com, or anywhere you listen. We are the House of L, of course, and all social media platforms at superhouseofl. If you have gone by superhouseofl.com, you'll notice we have a new website. And big thanks to Graham for helping with that, and Tim, and everybody that's pitched in, and Dane. So many people have helped and make this happen. We it's been a long time since we've had a good website. When Smallville went off the air, that was my favorite iteration of our website, and then we had a huge server crash and lost that domain, was stolen from us, and we lost so many things with that. But this is the first time probably since 2011 I've looked at a website and been like, yep, that's Shoe. I feel like that's Shoe again. So check that out. We'd love for you to leave us a rating, review, Spotify, Apple, wherever you may listen. Join the Patreon, patreon.com/superhouseofl, where you can get exclusive content over there. I just got, in addition to, have I showed you the new stickers?
No.
Dave? There's new.
Ooh, I like those.
Yeah. So we've also got, people said they wanted membership cards to be for Patreon. So we've got like official, you're a member of Shoe membership cards signed by Edna.
Well,
I found her.
Well, maybe they can do. Maybe those members of Shoe can start up like a Shoe 2 or a
Let's not
Shoe
do
Cube.
that.
No.
Let's just keep it. Let's just keep it in our happy little family here.
Okay.
Of
Podcast about a podcast.
A podcast about a podcast about nothing. So those are all the ways you can interact with us. We appreciate you listening. We've got so many more things planned for this year. Also, check out the Siegel and Schuster Society podcast. Myself and Luke Bugg, the Geek of Steel, where we promote Superman's birthplace, Cleveland, Ohio, and all things going there as they are working to get statues built at their downtown area. Tribute Plaza, 3 Superman statues. Really excited to be working on that with them. So, and you can check out Steve over at Geek Out Loud.
That's me.
That's him, which he used as a verb.
That's all I got.
Very interested in that. I don't know how we shoe something, but I'm gonna try to work it in.
I can show you.
Okay, hit me.
I can show you. You mentioned Tron earlier. Have you seen that Tron trailer?
I have seen that Tron trailer.
Tron Ares Taylor. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's coming to the real world.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Why it had to be Jared Leto, I don't know. We had a perfectly good Tron sequel set up in the bonus features of the Blu-ray of Tron Legacy. But
Yep.
whatever.
Well, the guy that played Sam Flynn, he's kind of teased that he may be actually a part of things.
Oh.
Without saying too much.
Interest is piqued, sir. Yeah. Piqued. All right. Happy Superman Day, one and all.
Happy Superman Day to you.
Happy Superman Day to you. And follow us along at Superhouseville on whether it's TikTok or X or Threads or Instagram, wherever you do. We're going to be all over it tomorrow. Tim is the man in the chair. He's already got multiple screens set up. He's going to be all over the place. And we'll keep him tied to the chair until the day's over. All right. So, we'll see you guys next time. Bye, everybody.